Vincent van Gogh was experiencing mental depression and emotional turmoil in 1888 in late December, roughly around December 23rd to be exact. He decided to cut off his ear due to the depression that he was receiving from multiple sources, which are not completely known but can be depicted from his paintings. When he cut off his ear, he only left his lobe and gave his ear to a woman named Rachel. He then told Rachel to guard this object with his life, as reported by authorities. The authorities found him the following day, bleeding, half dead on his bed, and rushed him to the hospital. At the hospital, he struggled with fever and infection and stayed there for a couple weeks battling this. All this occurred in his bright yellow house, which is ironic as a house in previous paintings symbolized happiness and and safety, as a painting that we discussed in class had him in his bedroom seem like a safe haven by multiple factors. In addition, Vincent van Gogh's emotions can be depicted from a painting of a self-portrait and pipe, which will be further discussed. In Vincent van Gogh's painting, the bandage on his ear still has an outline of his ear and could resemble that he wants the viewer to know that he's hurt, but that he's healing, because a bandage represents a healing process. But everything else in the painting doesn't show this. It shows emotional struggles that he's dealing with, which shows brokenheartedness and depression. The colors are very dark, which show a difference in healing and struggles. So maybe he wants the viewer to know that he's struggling physically and also struggling emotionally, but that he's trying to heal, that it's a process that he's trying to find. And then also, a couple weeks later, he actually went to the mental asylum where he was hoping to find some healing.
Now that we have some backstory, we can talk about the painting itself now. The painting in question is Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait with the bandaged ear and pipe. This painting is very interesting to us because it's very monotone and kind of melancholy of a painting. It doesn't have too much happy emotion, but it doesn't have too much sad emotion either. You can kind of see that in his face as well. He's sitting there just monotone, not really showing off too much emotion like he does in a lot of his paintings. And also the color and the brush strokes in a lot of his paintings are very out there and vibrant, and they very much catch your eye. This one, not so much. There's not too many brush strokes that are really like out there, and there's not too many colors that are really popping to be like, oh, this is how I'm feeling, or this is how I'm feeling this way or that way. He also has a pipe in the painting, which he has on a lot of paintings, but I see this pipe as a way of him coping with like him, because he just cut his ear off, and it's a way of him coping with being like, everything's fine. This is how I'm just gonna chill out from the world, and this is how I'm gonna just escape reality and feel comfortable with the situation I'm in right now. This painting also has a sense of brokenheartedness, which is something that is deep with him because he suffers with depression. Obviously, you can see in the paintings and the emotions he shows in his paintings, and it's just a lack of colors, brushstroke, and emotion kind of lead up to this lack of happiness that this painting kind of gives you. And this painting also isn't one that really catches your eye like some of his paintings do. It's not very vibrant. It doesn't just, you don't walk by and go, oh, like that's a Van Gogh painting. Like that's really like his thing. It's very just like, okay, there's a painting of this guy. It's very monotone and it's just kind of depressing.
Two other similar paintings to his self-portrait that came out around the same time that really stuck out to us was both The Night Cafe, made in September of 1888, and Vincent van Gogh's Chair, made in December of 1888. Both of these paintings seem to really represent his emotions of the time that led up to him making the self-portrait and cutting off his ear. In particular, The Night Cafe has very similar colors, showing a red and green contrast, really showing the amount of emotion he was feeling at the time. Trying to take away the attention from the faces. In a self-portrait, the green and red is taking the attention to his coat, trying to take the attention away from his face, while in the Night Cafe, it is taking the attention away from all the faces in the crowd. Between these two paintings, the faces all seem to have almost blank, emotionless stare. This, in particular, the guy in the white coat, stared right at the camera, having a very similar emotion to what Vincent Van Gogh, we believe, was feeling. This emotionless stare shows his just lack of emotion at the time and his very just depressive state he was in. This can also be seen in Vincent Van Gogh's chair. His chair is sitting alone with only his pipe there, representing what we believe to be his coping. This empty chair, I believe, represents the emptiness he was feeling at the time and just the absolute depression he was feeling. Between these two paintings we looked at, both of them were signed, while the self-portrait was not signed. This, I believe, was due to the fact that these were going to be sold, while the self-portrait was not going to be sold. This could be something to do with the self-portrait had a lot more meaning to him and just really was special to him and something he didn't want to share with others, while the other two paintings, while representing his emotions, were something he was ready to give away. Also, as seen between the night cafe and his self-portrait, are very prominent brushstrokes. This could be showing his expression of emotion, really showing what he was feeling through the obvious show of brushstrokes, especially in the smoke of his pipe and the light of the night cafe. While in the chair, there seems to be a lack of obvious brushstrokes that we typically see in Vincent Van Gogh's style. This could be due to just the pure lack of emotion in this painting, as was shown by this was done right before he cut off his ear, and this just lack of emotion could be what was just he was just giving off signs that he was near his breaking point. Overall, these two paintings seem to paint a very vivid picture of what was happening leading up to him cutting off his ear and making this self-portrait, and I think they can be shown to really represent what was going on in his life at the time.